Okay, guys, we're going to react to Candace's episode. Oh, and I do want to start off by saying this. So, I was talking to my mom earlier because I just got home from work, and we were talking about when I was on the Turning Point Tonight show with Joe Bob, and she was like, "Oh, he's a bummer. He was like being a dork, whatever, to you," and because we got in a whole thing, you guys can look it up on my Twitter, but we were talking about that, and I was like, yeah, like, because we were talking about like my live streaming, and I was like, yeah, like my live streams literally get more than his show, and she was like, really? I was like, yeah. I didn't even check. I went and checked. His videos get less than like 60 views, and even on the Real America's Voice channel, his show that started streaming last night at the same time that my live stream did, they got like 2,000 views. His got like 509. So it's embarrassing. But anyways, my mom, it's like so crazy. She had the audacity to say, Mason, like your background is like just your bed. It's like you need to make it more aesthetic. And I just want to say, Mom, I totally agree with you. Thank you for the advice. I love you so much. I need to get a better chair. Need to make this more aesthetic. Need to put some LED, something, some signs or something. I'm gonna make it look good, I swear. So thank you, Mom. I love you. Yeah, let's get watching this. This will begin.
All right, you guys, happy Wednesday. Sorry, I'm a little tardy. I had a sick 2-year-old in my bed last night, and he's cute, but he sleeps like a psycho, snores like an old man. Anyway, I know a lot of people today are discussing, obviously, celebrity blogger Perez Hilton this morning. Don't worry, we are not going to show you the video. I actually want to be honest with you, I haven't even watched the video because my social media guy alerted me to it last night. He said, don't watch it. And I said, okay. Then my husband said, do not watch it after he saw it. I can't even watch scary movies. I've shared that with you. I'm very like spiritually sensitive to that stuff. I can hardly make it through an Erica Kirk interview. Speaking of which, in hilarious news, Piers Morgan interviewed one of her spiritual advisors, Victor Marx, the man that we interviewed. And Piers Morgan is very confused. This man who summons angels and demons into the room. Piers has sort of landed upon the same conclusion that Victor is bizarre. Keep going, Piers. You might appreciate that all of these godly, quote unquote, godly people who Erica surrounded her husband with are of a particular variety that feels anything but holy or biblical, despite the words that come out of their mouth, despite all of the pretenses. Anyway, we have a lot to cover today, so let's get into it.
Sorry.
Welcome back to Candace.
It's allergy season, guys. Drake and Josh reference, if anybody got that.
Okay, before we get into this Perez Hilton story, quick update for you guys on Officer Bagley, which may or may not be interesting, given the recurring themes that we've been talking about in the Charlie Kirk assassination story. We learned that Officer Bagley, while he was employed by the Utah County Sheriff's Office, so that was actually his last place of employment before he began working for UVU. He worked for Utah County Sheriff's Office. But specifically, he worked in the Sex Crimes Detective Unit. So I'm pointing that out because I have been continually underlining that theme across the board. Various decoys like George Zinn, arrested for child pornography. Seems like he was put up for this job of saying, I did it. The guy who jumped up and started that chant, USA, USA. He goes by David Sprague, but he actually changed his name. It used to be James Rawlinson. He confessed to me that his father got mixed up in crimes against children and some sex abuse crimes against children. I also had shared with you in the past, maybe you don't remember, that I strongly suspect that Mike Mitchell, who is very central to the story, the former undercover cop who was Tyler Robinson's Boy Scouts leader, who told him, they're gonna arrest you either way, and convinced him to sort of turn himself in or have the SWAT bang down your door. Well, as a reminder, we were able to find an undercover detective who was involved in Utah with Cyber Sex Crime Unit by that same name, Michael Mitchell, but we haven't been able to confirm with absolute certainty that it is the same Mike Mitchell. But I think it is, because we don't really know what he did for the police. And usually that means you're undercover, and if you're doing internet crimes, Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, why this really matters. And we've had that spreadsheet for you is because obviously when you are dealing with sex crimes over the internet, cyber sex crimes, you will find a hub of feds, and feds do turn would-be criminals into assets. You catch them touching the wrong link, and here are your choices. You can either do this for us, or you could spend the rest of your life with the whole world knowing you're a pedophile.
Like
These circumstances have happened in the past many times over. And so again, I'm entering that tidbit because it might be relevant down the line. Now, I had already been wondering aloud about whether some people were blackmailed into certain activity, and I'm going to continue to wonder aloud about that, give myself permission to think while it's still legal. I also really wanted to get together a little list. I will keep building on this. You know, I love a list for, just us to remind ourselves of everything that we were initially told about this case, the influencers that came out and told us they were overwhelmed with evidence that has thus far been proven false or entirely unverifiable. We were told, wait until the preliminary hearing. I was told that actually by Erica herself, saying, this is her lawyer. This is when we gather all the evidence. Then at the preliminary hearing, we have a chance to present that evidence and the public will know much more. Well, it's just important to pause and reflect and to recognize that from beginning up until this point, we have just been lied to. They have proven actually nothing. They continually call us the conspiracy theorists. They are the conspiracy theorists, actually. We are fully in the throes of trust the science of Tyler Robinson. Just trust that it's him, but we don't have to supply any proof. So here's just a little brief list of things that I'm putting together. And like I said, we will continue to grow this, but we were told that Tyler's father turned him in. I have disputed this from the very beginning. I was the first person to say that is not true. I had a source and it was solid that actually he was pressured into coming in and told that he had no other option or they were going to bang down his door. When we were told that, don't forget the Bill Ackman narrative in the background. Bill Ackman, this was such a prevalent narrative in the mainstream that Bill Ackman tweeted that he was going to award this brave father, oh, could you imagine if you had to turn in your own son $1 million, which added to this myth and this lore of Tyler Robinson's father turning him in. And that has been determined to be a lie. I'm not saying Bill Ackman lied. He could have been responding to the lie. But what I'm saying is I believe Andrew Colbert admitted that Bill Ackman did not give him $1 million. And Matt Robinson, his father, did not turn him in. They just kind of are moving on from that point. It didn't happen. We were also told that there is a video of Tyler Robinson taking the shot in 4K by the influencers. That is a lie. I proved to you that was a lie. They're now moving the goal.
It's like so crazy because, like I said, I do photography and videography. I've done it for almost a decade. There's no video that's even in 720p. So it goes like 360p, 720p, 1080p, 2K, 4K. And 4K is like, dude, 4K is like the clearest possible ever. Obviously, it was like 8K, but most TVs don't even produce 8K. So when you can tell it's a coordinated lie because they're all like 4K crystal clear. Bro, it's not even in 720. Like 720 is like, let's see if I have anything. I think I do. Or maybe I deleted it. But it's like, it's not even close. Like 720 is like if you download something, not even off of TikTok, that's like still 1080 probably. I probably don't have anything because I always upload in high quality. But it's gonna look like this is probably like around 720, 1080. It's like, it's not super clear, but it's like clear enough. It's like so wild that they say 4K and it looked like it was shot off of a potato, dude. Making no sense.
Post and pretending that they never said it. There is no video of any person taking the shot. Actually, doesn't exist.
That too.
Major lie. Tyler Robinson, another thing that we were told, and or his lover at various times are transgendered. That's a lie. Tyler Robinson is not transgendered. I told you that very early on. His lover Lance is not transgendered. And the furry culture, it's very difficult to explain, but that is supposed to exist as an avatar of some game player or someone in game world that reminds you of yourself. And I am told by people in the game world that Luna is a very popular character because they're sort of like antisocial. And I don't know, they were explaining to me who Luna is, the very popular character in that world. And who's going to account for that lie? Who's going to come forward and admit that they just sort of made that up? I don't know. We were similarly told in that same vein, the reason why that lie was so crucial was that this was a politically motivated crime. Tyler Robinson, the whole text messages reflect some hate just can't be negotiated. I got to do this. Charlie, I had to take my shot. Charlie Kirk is here. That's crucial. That's the motive. We were told that it was because of Charlie Kirk's stance on LGBTQ issues, least of the things that he is known for. Truly, least of the things that Charlie Kirk is known for. If this was like, Matt Walsh during What is a Woman documentary, that might make sense. But Charlie Kirk? Like, no, that's not what people, when you think of Charlie Kirk, you don't think of transgendered issues. We know where he stands on it, but that's not his claim to fame. Then suddenly the boyfriend, Lance, testifies that he's never spoken to him about LGBTQ issues. So I guess for the first time, he spoke to him about it after he killed Charlie Kirk via text message. Again, it's a very serious lie that has now been debunked because it means the motive has evaporated. The political motive has evaporated. He said they didn't even speak about politics. He had never mentioned the name Charlie Kirk to him, ever.
Only talked about Trump.
Where's their motive now? We were told that there is footage of Tyler Robinson assembling the rifle on the roof. That is a lie. There is no footage of Tyler Robinson assembling the rifle on the roof. Blake Neff tweeted this the other day. He's lying through his teeth. He's lying through that bald head. Okay? It doesn't exist. Then he kind of tried to edit and say, well, we can deduce. We can deduce? Dude. We can deduce that somebody assembled a rifle on the roof? No, we can't deduce that. Is there footage, yes or no? The answer is no. It was a lie. We were told that there was clear footage of Tyler Robinson's car on campus. That is thus far unproven. It would remain a mystery as to if there was that footage, why they wouldn't have presented at the preliminary hearing. What we have been presented with is blurry footage of a car that resembles Tyler Robinson's car. He's not the only person in Utah or in the United States or in the world that drives that particular vehicle in that car, in that color. So that is thus far unproven, but we'll be open to maybe they just didn't want to present it at the preliminary hearing. We were told Tyler Robinson was suicidal. That is a lie. I told you that was a lie from the very beginning. He was not suicidal. In fact, he was so not suicidal that he agreed to turn himself in, or rather to walk in peaceably. You have no other choice. That's what they told him. He agreed to go in peaceably rather than subject himself to the possibility of an accidental death by SWAT team banging down his door. They just moved on from that. We were told that Tyler Robinson's gun was officially tied to the bullet fragment that was recovered in Charlie's autopsy. That's a lie. The ATF was very clear. That's why the influencer started pretending. They were kind of trying to shroud the ATF testimony. That's my belief of why they went so hard on the last day, because that ATF testimony was so crucial and very carefully explained that they gave a range. She gave a range of what these metal fragments, of which really only one of them could be tested, a range of what sort of weapons it could fit into. And in fact, it didn't cover a 30-06. It didn't cover a 30-06 if you pay attention to that testimony. She almost debunked the idea entirely, in my view, that this was tied to Tyler Robinson's gun whatsoever. We were told Tyler Robinson's gun had DNA all over it. And I'm going to call that a lie by severe omission, because every time they said this in the public, they refused to say, but 5 other sets of prints minimally were also found on the gun. And they refused to say that Tyler's are the most degraded. Tyler's prints are the most degraded of all the prints that were found on this gun. That is a severe lie by omission, to continually say they found his prints on a gun and not admit that 5 other sets were found, of which one were owned by his father and the other by Lance. Lance Swiggs and Hunt. Why are Lance's fingerprints on this family heirloom? And I am going to count this next one as a lie by severe omission, that Terrell Farnsworth immediately turned over the footage to police.
He's so guilty, dude. Like, I'm not even joking. I'd say the top most suspicious and guilty people on that day are Brian Harple, Mikey McCoy, and Terrell Farnsworth. I'd probably put Terrell at, not over Brian. That was crazy. I'd put him at number 2 because his, like, I just, like, it's so crazy because we can talk about all these theories and, like, whatever all day, but I tell people all the time, no, put yourself there on that day. Imagine you were there. Active shooting, gunshot rings out. Are you going to take out your phone and start recording a selfie video of your reaction and what you're doing? That's what Terrell did before he took the SD cards out of the cameras. It's totally normal, guys. You know what? Everybody grieves differently. Everybody reacts to shootings differently. Some people grab their phones out and record selfie reaction videos and say, Charlie Kirk's dead. Oh, he's dead. God bless. God help him. Like, are we being serious right now, bro? It's, like, so obviously, like, it's fake and coordinated. So, yeah, Terrell Farnsworth is guilty AF.
I'm going to call that a lie by severe omission because Terrell Farnsworth we watched him take out an SD card. And actually what the police were given was not an SD card.
Nope.
They were given a hard drive, right? A USB file. So why? When was that transferred? That feels relevant to me. You can give an SD card to the feds. You don't need to be like, well, let me get this onto a USB or a hard drive. No. This tells me that it is plausible that footage was edited, zoomed in perhaps, as Nisi pointed to, and then given to the feds for some reason, because a zoomed in image would not show you what was happening on the ground beneath. I'm not sure. But these are a lot of very severe lies that they're now just kind of moving on from. What exactly, I guess this is my question, what exactly in the narrative thus far, which has been presented to us, to the public, what are we supposed to find convincing? Because I want you to remember that in order to secure a murder conviction, you have to move a jury beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt to secure a murder conviction.
That's a good point.
So to our detractors, which there are many, I ask sincerely, name one piece of evidence that has been entered into the public domain that you feel demonstrates that Tyler Robinson did this beyond a reasonable doubt. Because as we were going through this as a team, we were like, all they're left with right now is a text message confession, right? That's really kind of it. These were taken, a text message confession, which the police took from Lance's phone. Mind you, Lance should be a suspect in this. His prints are everywhere. He had access to all of Tyler's belongings. He says his alibi is I was sleeping. Okay. He's being protected by the feds. Like I said, he seems like an asset. Maybe they found him online doing some weird stuff. And those messages were presented without any timestamps. We don't know why that is. And also it happens to be that when Lance's phone was photographed by the police, it was conveniently broken. Take a look here in the top left corner.
Yeah,
right where we would be able to discern what time it was.
Bro, how does a phone even break there? It looks like it was shot by a BB gun. Like, that doesn't look like it was naturally dropped and it broke and, like, it cracked a little bit. It looks like a perfectly fine phone. And then in the top left corner where the time is, it just happens to look like it gets shot by a little BB gun. Totally normal, guys. We gotta trust that this is real. This is totally Tyler Robinson saying all of this stuff, guys. Like, for sure. No.
When the police took that, their story is, he came in on the night of the 10th. Or maybe it's the 11th. I mean, we spoke to him. Well, it would be great if we could look at that time, but that he happened to break his phone, like stab it right in the corner where the time is. So we don't get to guess or know when the feds actually took photos of those messages. We also saw testimony in court that the police moved to use an Israeli tech firm to extract the messages. Celebrate, it's called. An Israeli forensic tech firm to extract those messages. Now, I don't know if it matters to them, but we all kind of think Israel killed Charlie Kirk, just based on the actions and the mood of the Israeli government leaders, Bibi Netanyahu, and their plethora of Zionist supporters throughout the United States. They're obsessed with lying about the Charlie Kirk case. They just have to lie about the Charlie Kirk case. They have to try to debunk everything immediately. It's giving us the vibe that they could be guilty. So yeah, we'd rather not trust an Israeli tech firm to extract messages that do not sound at all as though they were written by a native English speaker. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. It sounds to me like someone using Google Translate, right? There are little idiosyncrasies in language that I'll give you. When I learned Spanish, okay, I remember like, okay, I know how to say to drink, beber, beber, B-E-B-E-R, beber. But actually, they don't use beber ever. No, everywhere you go, they use tomar, which is like to take. They say toma, like you take. So if you say beber, like if I put that into Google Translate, I want to drink, it's going to give me beber. And if I go and I then present those as text messages, Spanish people are going to clock you in 4 seconds and say, this is not a native Spanish, this is not a native Spanish speaker at all. Beber, we don't say beber, but it means to drink. Yeah, but we don't say that. In Tyler Robinson's text messages, we, actual American English speakers, we don't say pooch and bad sniffer in casual language.
Right.
I actually looked that up, actually. Like sniffer is Ukrainian. There's like a show.
Bro, she's so right. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it like that. Cause one of my best friends is from France, and like, I remember I was talking to her, and like I learned some stuff, and I said like one thing one day. That's a terrible pause. I said one thing one day, and she was like, "What? What?" And I looked it up and showed her, and she was like, "Oh no, that's not how you say that. It's this," and it was like completely different. So. Bro, that's so true. No one says pooch, referring to a dog, and all the stuff like, what was the other thing? Vehicle and all that. Like, dude, oh my gosh, it's so true. I didn't think about it like that.
Called The Sniffer.
Yeah.
Ukrainian show. It's totally crazy. We don't use that stuff in casual language. This is somebody who does not know how we speak. And it is, of course, entirely plausible that someone gained access to Tyler Robinson's iCloud. Maybe someone like his boyfriend gave access to his iCloud, and someone sent text messages from a different location.
Dude.
All of that remains to be seen, because don't forget, Tyler's legal team, despite reasonable protestations, were not granted their discovery requests leading up to the preliminary hearing.
That's like low-key one of the biggest pieces of potential evidence that there was foreign involvement. That's crazy.
Okay. They testified that they had not even been given access to their client's phone when they were requesting an extension. They were going, well, how are we doing this hearing? We don't have anything. We can't even vet anything that you're putting on the stand. You're just going to allow hearsay? Yeah, we're going to allow hearsay. That's what happened. Those text messages have not been vetted yet. Now, in addition to this, the public is noticing that the victim on this case, Erica Kirk, is inviting influencers into the courtroom. That doesn't make us think she's telling the truth, especially because the influencers are lying. They have lied repeatedly to the masses. They get caught and they just keep lying as if their lives and livelihood depend on it. On top of that, her organization, which she took over in her husband's stead,
So evil.
Turning Point USA, is contracting the services of and platforming people who are meant to lie about this investigation full-time. It's their full-time job to attack Candace. I don't know if you happen to catch this, but over on X right now, it's trending. A group of 92 influencers have been exposed, targeting me. Exposed, coordinating in a group chat. The group was brought together by an agent of Israel, no doubt, in the past, before Charlie was assassinated, that this person hosted a Spaces on X and went on record admitting that they gather intel, they collaborate with Green Berets, they collaborated with a Daily Wire employee, Cassie Akiva, the Gaza Humanitarian Fund, then run by Johnny Moore, to create files on people for the purpose of doing Israel's PR bidding. At that time, it was about what's happening in Gaza. And they were going after someone who Tucker Carlson had on his show. So, of course, the common sense question is, why is someone who focuses on PR for Israel focused on gathering 91 other people to attack me full-time over the Charlie Kirk case? Okay, I'll show you this. The group chat got exposed because a member of the group went rogue and was like, I'm done with this. This is no longer healthy for me. Here is what she said over 2 tweets. Shady Lady Katie wrote, coordinated efforts are coming from some of these people. Here are all of the names
Oh my
who are in this
gosh.
group chat. I'm sharing information, background checks, reporting accounts, whining and complaining all day about Candace Owens, and even sharing Candace's own home address in this group chat. However, I will say that not everyone here participated. Some just lurked. Anyway, I am out of here. X is a digital, unfruitful wasteland, and I have a real life and SHIT to do. Go live your lives and build something. And she exposed 92 members in this group chat, which has the name Protecting Mrs. Kirk. Protecting Mrs. Kirk. And now some of these names are not, we know this is their full, I blocked them because it's just their full, it's obvious it's their full-time job.
Is Joshua Carr in
To
there,
attack
bro?
me.
He
Milk Bar
probably is.
TV, No Soup for Knowles, Paramount Not So Tactical, Brie Dale, Fake Catholic, Insurrection Barbie, you know, just block. It's not even worth my time. Like, it's just the most obvious operation in the world. Nice to see it. Nice to go through
my
these,
gosh.
and you should go through these 92 absolute losers who are losers.
Dude, I saw the
despite
Brit
doing
chick
this.
in there.
I
Oh
don't
my
coordinate.
gosh.
I'm not on any group chats with 92 operatives, 10 operatives,
saw that
6
Brit
operatives,
chick
2
in there.
operatives. I don't do this. I
Oh
work
my
with my
gosh,
team.
of course she's in there, dude. She's the worst. Okay. How do we slow this down? Playback speed. Let's go literally. Let's go 0.25. Okay. Obviously Gary's in there.
Absolute.
That Brita chick is in there, bro. I'm posting this clip on Twitter. I don't care. She is so mentally ill, bro. It's like actually awful. I talked to her in one of the X Spaces things. Her life mission is to call out Candace and just be an untruthful loser. It's so crazy. Okay, let's see who else.
Losers
Losers, dude.
who are losing despite doing this.
Let's see.
I don't coordinate.
That Bren guy, I've talked to him. He's awful. I blocked him.
I'm not on any group chats with 92 operatives, 10 operatives.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. That's actually so crazy that's a real thing. All right.
6 operatives, 2 operatives.
Dude.
I don't do this.
Dude.
I work with my team. I look for information. I may, reach out obviously to people who are also care about this case. Baron Coleman, hey, did you see this video? Give him a call. Did you find this? Did you cover this topic? He'll tell me what he knows. No one's coordinating to take down Erica Kirk. We're just coordinating to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk.
Yup.
And for some reason, these people find it to be synonymous with taking down Erica Kirk. I wonder why that is. So that's the question. Why does it take 92 operatives online, coordinating, sharing my personal information, utterly psychotic, okay? My home address. Why are they obsessed with the takedown of Candace Owens? Well, the answer is because they know that I know. They know that I know, okay? We got another bizarre request today, this time from the Daily Mail. Charlie Spearing, the one who worked on the... Trust us, bro. Charlie definitely wanted Erica to take over the company because I watched the video, the author of that. The Aspen, I watched it so you don't have to, guy. He wrote this to us today. We have sources who believe that Candace is being used by foreign operatives sending misinformation through her tip line. It is part of a much broader network. Really? Foreign operatives sending me the video of the rooftop? Foreign operatives sending me what? Like the pictures of the inside of the car? Take 1, take 2, everything that I've exposed. What do you feel like came from a foreign operative? Why do you think the truth is coming from foreign operatives? I don't work with foreign operatives. This is a real network of people who are dedicating their time to wanting to learn and know what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean, deep down, we all have a sense that the state murdered Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
That clearly it must have had Trump's permission because he's doing nothing to try to get to the bottom of what happened to his dear friend who helped to get him elected twice.
That's true.
And we sense Israel's involvement.
Yeah.
That's what's happened. There's no
True.
foreign operatives.
I just like when he was interviewed for the first time after it happened, and they're like, "How you doing, Mr. President?" And he was like, "Good. We got the ballroom going in the back." I was like, even during that time, that rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like that.
That are working on this case. So yeah, the real issue is that they know that I know. They're desperate now, growing increasingly desperate and manic. We want FBI raids, anything. But I'm sorry, guys. It's all inevitable. Okay? It is inevitable. You are figuratively walking a plank. Charlie was betrayed. You can't spin that.
Facts.
Speaking of which, I have a question for Blakey Neff. Public challenge. Just one question, Blake. Let's see if you can remember. Oh, so transparent one. You, Danny Phillip, Mikey McCoy, and Nate Walker all walked into Timpanogos Hospital together. Mm-hmm. My question for you is simple. Did you all travel there together? Did all four of you arrive at Timpanogos Hospital in the same car?
Actually,
yes or no? I'm asking for a reason. Another question, and that's regarding Nate Walker, because like, what a new thing, like to be just a new assistant, the one who supplied Charlie Kirk with that Freedom t-shirt. The internet has taken notice, and we would appreciate a clarification on his movements before the explosive goes off, because he's a young assistant, and at around 12:15, he has his bag, as assistants do. I've been many of these events, and he's been speaking with Dan Flood, and this is around 12:15. I'm going to show you that. You could see he's wearing a bright blue shirt in the corner there. That's him talking. You could just catch him with his bag that's pointing. And then what happens after that, Dan's obviously talking into his shirt. Then Nate, with, I guess we're less than T-minus 10 before the explosive goes off, suddenly he's upstairs when that happens. This is him immediately following the explosive, around 12:25, so about, I guess, a minute and 45 seconds afterward. Here he is up near the Flag of Halls walkway, putting on sunglasses, and he doesn't have his bag. Here he comes. And then we find him 2 minutes beyond that walking downstairs. So people have questions, and I think it's a pretty fair thing. You know, the public cares about Charlie. Why did he go upstairs? What was, maybe he went up there. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, Dan Flood asked him to go up there to check on something. I don't know. We don't need to make up a narrative. We don't need to speculate. But we are asking for a specific reason. Anyway, I will leave that at that. I want to get into this Perez Hilton story. I guess, you know what we should probably do. I didn't realize that I've already been going here for 30 minutes. Let's take a quick break, and then let's cover Perez Hilton. Or to get 10% off their fruits and veggies supplements with promo code Candace at checkout. Again, that's balanceofnature.com with code Candace at checkout. Okay, so it's trending everywhere. The video has fortunately been removed from the internet. Of course, you can find it in various pockets, but at least there is some sort of an honest attempt to remove the video across social media. But Perez Hilton, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him for my international listeners, because I obviously do not expect that he made it across the pond. So he is a gay celebrity blogger who really came up in the early 2000s. You could actually argue that he sort of pioneered celebrity blogging in the time and the land before social media. He did it in a way however, that I should make clear was very vicious and very mean, right? He would cover celebrities throughout their addictions, eating disorders, their relationships, if they were, struggling with anorexia, if they were in rehab, if they were begging for privacy. There was like no place that he wouldn't go. There was nothing he would not publish onto his blog. And he would also include these gratuitous illustrations of these celebrities to suggest, as an example, that they were addicted to cocaine, like a little white scribble beneath their nose, so to speak, to imply that these people were on drugs. It was incredibly invasive to many celebrities who were many of them extremely young at the time of his publications, and dealing with their own insecurities, obviously being in the public eye. They would eventually speak out about how his targeting and bullying contributed to their self-hatred or their self-harm. And to be clear, I want to really stress he was vicious. He would call people ugly, fat, give them nicknames, and they would sort of, I think a lot of them were like permanently damaged from this. One of them being Khloe Kardashian, who has changed her face many times. He really targeted her and referred to her as a transvestite over and over again. Also, there was this massive scandal. To give you an idea of who he was, he posted an upskirt photo of Miley Cyrus, who was then just 17 years old, right? That's the kind of stuff that he would do. And when he was interviewed about it, he would just be like, oh, it's not my fault that, like, whatever, this is what the public is interested in. And these celebrities know what they're doing. She's 17 years old. Like, this is not a person that you should be publishing. Now, of course, because it was like sort of the dawn of this, and people maybe always wondered how celebrities lived and wanted to know about these celebrities, it just completely launched him. It actually gave him so much power in Hollywood. Celebrities actually sought his friendship. So you can see he's hanging out with A-listers because he just wanted to be on his good side. It was almost like a form of social blackmail in a way, because you didn't want to end up with him tracking you. So that's like Lady Gaga. I mean, he was hosting wild parties with A-list celebrities because people basically wanted to end up on his good list. That's kind of the Perez Hilton phenomena in a nutshell. Now, in 2010, he did a total rebrand, and he offered this public apology saying that he wanted to change his trajectory, wanted to change his ways, no longer play a part in the industry of bullying that he really built. And he tried to flip his brand by appearing on Ellen DeGeneres' talk show. And here is what he said.
So when you asked to be here, I got to say a lot of people have said it's not a good idea and advised me against it and said, why would you want to do that? I believe in giving people second chances. And you said you want to change, and a lot of people don't believe you. But if you say you want to change and you want to, I think it takes a big person to look at themselves and say, I've done wrong and I want to change, so I want to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been doing everything I can to bring awareness to the issue of the teen suicides and gay bullying. And in doing so, a lot of people have called me a hypocrite and a bully myself, and a big one. And that's not how I want to be perceived, and that's not what I want to put out there into the world. And it was a big wake-up call that so many people saw me that way. So, from now on, I really want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. I want to be the change that I want to see in others. So I'm going to do things differently on my website than I have in the past. I'm not going to call people nasty nicknames. I'm not going to go the mean route. I'm going to force myself to try and be funnier or smarter or just do things differently, not doodle inappropriate things, not out people, which right. I have done all of those things in the past.
That's right. So, yeah, he had a lot of power in Hollywood. Some people were not buying this rebrand, especially people who were impacted by the stuff that he did. Khloe Kardashian being one of them. She came out and was like, this is nice, but no, like you really damaged me. Now, I should mention here, the reason why some people weren't buying this was because at the same time of his attempted rebrand came the dawn of social media. So his relevancy was sort of naturally fading. The paparazzi culture of the 2000s, he benefited from that tremendously. It changed with smartphones, right? Everyone suddenly became the paparazzi. This wasn't like unique capture, and celebrity culture transformed. So this was kind of like the Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie phase that he enjoyed the boom of, and then that sort of went away. I'm just telling you guys that on background because, like I said, I'm sure he didn't make his way across the pond. People don't know who this guy is or why he's trending. But he really did build an empire of sleaze. and he embraced it until he didn't. Now, on the personal side of things, you should know that Perez, as a gay single man in the new social media era, made this decision also to have children via surrogacy. He's single. This is becoming an increasingly controversial topic. Gay men using surrogacy, not having another parent in their lives. He chose to have 3 children, one in 2013, one in 2015, and one in 2017. 1 boy and 2 girls. So he is a single father, which is important as we get into what happened last night. Okay, these children do not have another parent, is what I'm stressing to you. So over recent months, it's been clear that he is going through something. I mean, on March 23rd, he posted videos of himself from a hospital bed and said he almost died from severe sepsis and infections. He claimed that it started with the flu, but he didn't take his medications with food like he was supposed to. So he then developed an ulcer that eventually perforated. He was hospitalized for 3 weeks and had emergency surgery. And then he said that because he was so close to death, he found God, and then he started sort of hawking these Christian t-shirts online, and people either accepted that or thought that this was a new grift, one or the other. Now, yesterday what happened, and I made, like I said, Skylar watched this video last night, so I didn't have to. My husband watched this video, so I didn't have to. I have sensitive eyes and ears. But in the video, which ran live on TikTok, Perez Hilton was fully naked, drenched in blood, with multiple cuts all over his body, and he was cutting himself.
Wait,
he can
that's
be
what
seen
that was?
making cuts with a knife all over his body.
I didn't watch it, but I heard
and
about
he's completely out of it. He's on video, and he's saying things like, "I am doing this for my children." He's looking out of the window, recognizing that the police are here, saying, "Shoot me," mother foes, mother F words, you know what I'm trying to say there. And what happened was the update came from NBC. Obviously, they took him gratefully, peaceably, and they hospitalized him after this live stream. He was doing this on a live stream on TikTok, I should mention. And the police said that they responded to his Miami area home of the celebrity blogger and podcaster Perez Hilton after they received reports that he engaged in self-harm in a live-streamed video Tuesday night. A spokesperson for the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said in an email that the deputies responded to reports of someone who was live streaming acts of self-harm on social media. In a follow-up statement, the sheriff's office said that the person was safely recovered and taken by Miami-Dade Fire Rescue to a local hospital where he was receiving medical attention. It said that deputies spoke to the family members at the scene who confirmed the person had been alone inside the residence, so his kids were not there. The video, which was streamed on TikTok before the platform pulled it, appeared to show Hilton covered in blood with visible cuts, holding a knife. And in the video, viewers pleaded with him and asked for his phone number so that they could alert authorities. And they note that he's a single father with 3 children born via surrogacy, and he moved back to Miami after living in Las Vegas for 3.5 years. Now, I want to share my personal opinion on this. I think Paris Hilton is on drugs. I do. It's an opinion, not a fact, obviously. But as soon as I heard about this, as soon as I heard about the sepsis thing, there was just something about it that felt to me like he is in the throes of a drug addiction. And obviously there is a deeper irony to that given how he built his career. But there's been just a lot of changes in his life, moving back into his mother's house, I believe is accurate. He's living with his mother. His mother's raising his kids. That indicates to me that he's on some sort of a spiral, and not something to be made fun of. I don't think that's funny. That's just my genuine opinion, is that you're looking at somebody who has demons, and that he could have been in some sort of a drug-induced psychosis when this went on. He was also saying how he doesn't like himself. And, a lot of that is because Hollywood in general, the broader picture here is that we now have confronted the reality that sort of glamour and glitter of what we thought Hollywood was has fallen. We don't have the same opinion as we had about celebrities back in the early 2000s. There's something about them that they felt so shiny. And now we realize that these people are crazed, dealing with their own issues, many of them drug addicts, many of them involved in pedophilia. I'm not talking about Perez Hilton. I'm talking about what we've learned about Hollywood, and many of them controlled by agents. We've seen now, so many of them try to speak out. We saw what happened to Britney Spears. We saw what happened to Kanye West. We saw what happened to Michael Jackson. And of course, just what I've learned, how Hollywood was set up. Truly, it was meant to be a cult. It's meant to be demonic. It was meant to draw people away from the church and into the cathedrals of theater. These people are performers, and their idea is to attract the masses to presentations about whether it's history, you watch a movie, you think it's real. The whole idea is that Hollywood was meant to drive us into it almost like it was psychoanalytical, right? They created Hollywood because they wanted to control what we think. It was meant to be a brainwashing technique, so to speak, when you get into Sigmund Freud and you get into PR and propaganda. That's what Hollywood is. At its core, it's propaganda, and they wanted us to really sort of have this form of pagan belief in these celebrities as something to be worshipped. And it worked. It worked. I would say in my younger years, I was just, oh my gosh, Christina Aguilera. Oh my gosh, these people are amazing. I would do anything to meet Christina Aguilera. That was supposed to be the magic trick. And I think that now we have seen that illusion fade, and the fall, so to speak, or the current fall of Perez Hilton sort of represents that moment. But here's what I want to warn about that. When something falls, and I'm referring to Hollywood more broadly, not specifically Perez Hilton, something has to rise to take its place. And I sense so deeply that same occult worship, that same shiny, new, fake veneer drawing the youth in is what we are watching right now with the rise of this fake Christian grift that is happening. It is exactly what it fits like. It's Hollywood all over again, but this time it's going to be biblical. The same players are involved. People that were in reality TV are now pretending that they can't get a sentence out without referring to the Lord. It is so much for me what I see happening with Turning Point USA. This is it. This is supposed to be the new Hollywood. This is the plan. They're supposed to get your children. They want to be inside of the high schools, and you're supposed to look the other way and go, well, this isn't bad. Like maybe your parents were okay with you watching TRL when you got home, whatever. If this is just culture, now they're saying this isn't culture, this is actually God. And that's really scary. It's the same paganism that is found, and they try to protect it and say, you can't question it now because we are giving it a new veneer, and this veneer is that it's godly.
It's the deception of the Christian faith. I said that in my video. It is the biggest deception of the Christian faith since social media has been around. I think like the funeral, millions of people watching, I forgive him, all the stuff. In the history of social media, Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA is the biggest manipulation of the Christian faith in the world since the beginning of social media. That's my statement on that. I think it's so true. It's so true.
And we know scripture, and we're not going to address the fact that at Turning Point USA events they are having gay orgies, and that this person is cheating on this person is sleeping with this person. An unbelievable amount of gay men that work at Turning Point USA, that they are working behind the scenes with the same PR agents, the same vicious crisis PR firms that employed Hollywood is now employing these groups like Turning Point USA, is now employing these influencers.
When I went to AmFest, everybody was getting wasted. And some people were sleeping around, just to my knowledge. I didn't talk to everybody, but so many people were getting wasted, dude. Crazy.
That are targeting your children. That is something that you have to pay attention to. Hollywood is falling, and something else is rising to take its place. And in my honest opinion, it's more sadistic because it is targeting people through faith.
Yes.
And
yes.
I just wanted to say that when I watched this, it's like a new dawn, a new chapter. I do wish, obviously, Perez Hilton. I hope he gets better. I hope he truly finds God, and that he gets over whatever it is. And the first way that you're going to get over any spiritual demon that you're dealing with, that's why I do think this is a form of possession, is to be radically honest in your life. Like you need to be radically honest with what it is that you're going through. And I don't think he is being honest with what it is that he's going through. And beyond anything else, pray for his children. It is in a very unfortunate situation. I don't know that I would live in Miami if this is what I was living with or going through. And yeah, I just wanted to make people aware of that. Hollywood is falling, but the occult is not going away. A perfect segue, by the way, into Victor Marx, one of Erica's spiritual advisors. We all get the ick. We all know something's wrong. It's like we listen to Frank Turk. We just go, this doesn't feel godly. But you keep telling me it is. Well, Piers Morgan interviewed Victor Marx and tweeted that it was one of the most bizarre interviews of his career. Yeah. Well, what's funny about this is Piers Morgan has been hosting people attacking me, as he always does, saying I'm wrong. Erica's the widow. He always accepts the slop up in the beginning, and then a year on, he admits that I was right. And so watching him react to Victor Marx is like, this is the door, Piers. This is what we're saying. TPUS faith is something else. What Erica brought in around Charlie is something else. And we noticed. And I want to show you this clip of Piers Morgan questioning Victor Marx on, just some details about his childhood that he also shared with us on this show. Take a listen.
I mean, if you're 3 years old, though, how are you cutting a cat's head off? That requires a strength, which I've got 3 sons. None of them would have had the strength at 3 years old or the dexterity to cut a cat's head off. How have you done that? That's what people are finding a little bit suspicious.
I understand. If you put your hand around your son's hand on the knife of a dead cat, could you not cut the head off of it? It wasn't me.
I would say with great difficulty.
Have you?
Look at him.
I haven't done it, no.
Look, he's
this
so
leads
stressed.
me to probably the most contentious story, which is that when you were 7, the same abusive stepfather forced you to kill a man. Now, local law enforcement and sheriffs in the Mississippi area where this event apparently took place have said there are no records, police reports, or unsolved homicides matching your account from that time period. So just to be clear, what exactly do you say happened here? Who was the man? How did you kill him?
Well, I didn't murder anyone because I was a 7-year-old who was forced to
You're not answering the question. That's not answering the question.
Again, holding my hand around a pistol to a man who was handcuffed and on his knees, put his finger over the trigger and pushed it until the man was shot. I don't know who he was. Best I can remember, he looked like a homeless fella.
So you've no idea where this happened or who the person was. When you can see why people might be saying, come on, Victor, this really happened? I mean, let me put it to you a different scenario, which is, and I don't want you to be offended by this, I'm just putting it to you because I know it's something that can be a phenomenon, where people, you said that these revelations have come out very later in your life. A lot of people, when they've suffered abuse or trauma or whatever it may be, their mind can play games with them. It can, persuade them. And I'm not saying this has happened, but many people find some of these claims outlandish, that perhaps your mind is playing games and that these incidents didn't actually happen, but that because of your abuse, you have persuaded yourself that they may have done. Is that a possibility?
Well, I studied, and the answer is it's possible. I mean, I studied false memories and had 123 visits to a trauma specialist. This is nothing that I wanted to go back to, but it's something that was still affecting my life.
He is one of the most disturbing human beings I've ever seen in my life. Ever. The amount of murder and death and suspicious stuff surrounding him and his family is actually disturbing. It's eerie. It's eerily disturbing.
And, we live in a very evil world.
Dude.
Yeah, it's possible he made everything up. I'm glad he got to that point. It's definitely possible he made everything up. And yeah, like I said, Piers, keep going because we've done a lot of work on this and he's not the only one that maybe has false memories. Everything about Erica's past, you start looking into it and you're just falling through a dark hole. Everything she presented herself to be to Charlie and you just want us to let it go. This is who she was bringing around. This is the first person who we got Erica home, greeted her in Charlie's apartment, crying, sharing across Instagram. You're looking at Turning Point USA faith. And they want access to children. They're all wacky. They're all crazy pastors. You got Frank Turek signaling that I should be struck down, using the Bible, the good Bible, of course, to do it. Yeah, keep going, Piers. I think eventually you will start to realize why people have a lot of questions about the faith push that Erica brought to Charlie through Turning Point USA. Anyway, We are going to take a brief break, and we'll for not7.net/Owens. Okay, top comment from yesterday's episode. In My Mom Era writes, I have never known people to be so eager to not solve a crime. Yeah, that's Turning Point USA in a nutshell. They're just not interested in exploring any other leads. They can't articulate why they think Tyler Robinson did it, and they keep accusing us of being the people that are going off of vibes when actually they are the conspiracy theorists. They're going off of vibes. You can't just look at a blurry image and be like, that's Tyler Robinson. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. You have to show some evidence of something make sense. And yeah, like I said, using influencers to lie to the public is actually just increasing the amount of people who generally find you and your behavior to be suspicious. It's like it's having the opposite desired effect. So maybe a time to switch game plans there. Second comment, this person writes, Blake Neff's anger single-handedly makes the entire TPUSA look completely guilty. Yeah, it's crazy that they keep allowing him to have a platform. I don't see what the upside of that is. Like, was that promised to him that he was going to take over Charlie Kirk's show or something?
I've said this since the beginning, since I started saying they were suspicious. Blake Neff is like one of the Batman villains, but he's like the goofy, stupid one. But he still has foreknowledge and knowledge of all the suspicious stuff, so they have to keep him in the loop even though he's retarded. That's who he is.
I just don't get it. It's so abysmal. It like hurts them, and you wonder who is doing their PR because it is just so misguided, and it just catalyzes their descent into chaos. Like, it doesn't make any sense to the public what they're doing, why they're doing it, or why they think that by spending enough money or hosting these people, they're going to be able to convince people not to believe their own eyes and their own ears. I also want to offer an update. Yesterday, when I was talking about the burial, I was a bit uneducated when I said that I believed that you were not allowed to be cremated as a Catholic. Somebody sent me an email and reminded me, or actually informed me, that actually under Novus Ordo, so that is sort of the 60s update, yes, there is a document which discusses, and beginning in the 60s, I think in 1963, you are allowed to be cremated under certain circumstances, and so the person linked that. So I want to issue that correction. And also,
this is like the stuff, the Catholic stuff. Like, Candace is great, but like, I totally reject the Catholic faith, dude. I just do. I think it's not everybody in it, but a lot of people take it to the point where it's a traditionally obsessed cult. And it's you don't have as good of a relationship with God because you're so focused on all these traditions and what you have to do. So stuff like that, it's like, oh, you get cremated this time you do this. It's like, Jesus is king. That's all you need. You don't have to pray to Mary. You don't have to talk to a priest. You don't have to get on your knees and get communion and let him put food in your mouth. Like, it's so submissive too. So yeah, Catholicism is no.
So plead ignorance, because I told you guys that when I was baptized Catholic, it was done in the traditional Latin rites. My priest everything is Latin rites. It is not. I attend Latin mass. I don't know enough about Novus Ordo, is what I would say, and so I always want to correct when I get something wrong. And that
you don't have to, Candace.
Yeah, you were correct on that. I looked that up.
You don't have to. Doesn't matter.
Sorry,
Doesn't
that's
matter.
why I shouldn't. I don't speak too much.
Nothing in the Bible says you can be cremated or not cremated. Like, it's not important. This is the traditionally obsessed stuff that nobody cares about, that's completely irrelevant to the faith that you have in Jesus. Completely irrelevant.
In Catholic affairs, because I'm still learning, and I would
be
the most uneducated about Novus Ordo. So there's that.
It's okay.
Comments from today's episode. True Detective writes, after Charlie Kirk's murder, I watched a video of him saying that he wants to be remembered for the courage of his faith. This led me to enroll in OCIA and be baptized in the Roman Catholic Church this past Easter. His physical death inspired a spiritual awakening. Keep fighting, Candace. It is honestly tremendous to consider that the push after Charlie died was so evangelical that they were angry and nasty and bitter towards Catholics. Like, you couldn't even just be like, oh, my last conversation with Charlie, I was like, take a step, become Catholic. And they were like, influencers. And yet, it, again, had the opposite desired effect. The Catholic Church grew so much after Charlie's assassination. And obviously, I'm sure you've seen this, but like the Southern Baptist Convention, the numbers have been way down and going down every year. And I think it's partially, in part, due, and this doesn't mean that every evangelical church is like this, but we've seen too many in the public eye using Charlie Kirk's name that appear to be completely and utterly fraudulent. People who take a position and a stage and say, I'm his pastor, or I was his pastor, and they just come across like complete sleazeballs that are actually not dedicated to faith, not dedicated to anything other than making people support Israel. So it is interesting to consider that, and also welcome home, as Catholics say. Kyle, it is just who I am, writes, so much self-Zionist in here right now. It's so hilarious that they are spending so much money to get accounts to say such brainless beef. They can't actually think it's doing anything, right? I don't think they realize that we've hit critical mass and we know that they're doing it. So it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I feel like it's a waste of so much energy. Like they could just be doing something else, but they have to do this. It's terrifying though that they're just sharing my address in private chats. They are deranged and obsessed in a way that feels dangerous. And we knew when that was all happening, when they were publishing my kids' cars and stuff, and it was meant to scare me. And it is scary. It definitely is scary as a parent, obviously, that they just have no boundaries. And that I have no interest in publishing Erica's address. Like why would I want to be in a chat with 91 people being like, this is where Erica lives? What is it about, actually? Just respond to the questions that are being asked of you. The truth is enough. Like I said, nobody is trying to take down Erica Kirk. We just want to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk. And for some reason, those two concepts for you are synonymous. Finding out who killed Charlie Kirk is akin to taking down Erica Kirk. Why is that? Why is that? That's what we're getting from you. Ben the Beast writes, huge fan of yours and Andrew Tate. I love the interview that you did with him. What are your thoughts on his most recent arrest? In my opinion, it's another Matrix attack. Keep up the amazing work. So I had gotten very, like, whenever I comment on things, I always want to take the time to read files and understand what's happening and offer my, like, I guess non-legal perspective. Like, I'm definitely not a legal professional, but I do feel like I understand legal documents. And I was very much involved in reading through his Romanian documents when the charges were against him. And I said, this case is going to fall apart. And people came at me and were like, how could you? And then the case fell apart. I had never seen such clear evidence that the girl, there were actual literal text messages in WhatsApp of her describing what she was doing and trying to get a free ride to Paris or London. And so I gave my opinion on that because I felt like my opinion was educated. I have not had time, given everything that's going on, to look into the UK case. I always felt like Romania was kind of holding him because the UK wanted them. And so I've just been, the only thing I know right now are the headlines, which is like, this is a case from just like Russell Brand. It's like a long time ago. I need to go through the documents, and I am intending to do that and to give my opinion on what's actually happening in the UK. Obviously, it is utter madness that Andrew and Tristan Tate are in solitary confinement, and we are living in a time where he got taken in Florida, the home of Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein just lived the greatest life there. Nobody that is a part of the Epstein network has been taken down. In fact, they have been covered up and have been protected by this administration. And so my mind just goes to just that understanding immediately that if any government was actually committed to taking down traffickers, the entire Epstein list and the people who were benefited and had relationships with Epstein and went onto that island would be exposed. And yet they are in power. So there's that. But I do intend to get into exactly the case and to explain to the public what's going on with that. Tony Hill writes, hi, Candace, congratulations on the new baby. I'm always so happy for you every time, except I know that the time will come where you have to take a break from the show to welcome the baby as I sit with Candace withdrawals, LOL. Thank you for showing us true strength. We love you. Yes, maternity leave always comes with the news of the new baby. And I do miss you guys. And it's going to come around so quickly. And then I'll be gone, but then I'll be back. So there's that. And we'll have time to do a lot of research, which I can't wait for. That's why we take off every 6th or 7th week, whatever it is we do here, so that we can research because there's a lot of information and a lot of stuff that's coming out. And of course, they're going to be announcing soon, I guess September, September 5th, Ashley, that they're supposed to be saying whether or not they're going to go through with the Tyler Robinson trial. September 1st? Okay. Yeah, so less than a month.
That was the 5th.
And that's going to open a whole new can of worms. Like I said, I'm hoping it goes through. I want to see this thing through and see what this looks like and how they lie and how deep this is. So there's that. I certainly don't think Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk on a rooftop and acted alone. Olympia writes, sounds like Perez had a psychotic break. It's very sad, but honestly, when you live a life like that, you invite demonic activity into your world, in my opinion. I agree. I agree. All that glitters is not gold, and he's now he's a later phase in his life. He's understanding that his relationships were not real. What he did for a living really was not real, and I think he's kind of floundering. He doesn't know who he is or what his identity is outside of that early fame that he enjoyed. And that is why it is so important to build a life of substance, a life with family, a life with friends that are not pursuing the public eye. Like when we laughed, I remember that guy, Adam, on PBD was like, where are Candace's famous friends? Like, what a bizarre thing to say. What does that mean? That's pursue real things in your life, things that are filling, and you will be fulfilled. There's that. And have faith. That is I really hope for him that he finds true faith. I think he's kind of in the wilderness right now. Lola Wild writes, I love you, Candace. Let's give him grace. What if he was doing it for his kids because they were getting payback through a humiliation ritual or sacrifice one of his kids? Maybe leaving the Crowley Hollyweird cult. Pray for the kids. Absolutely pray for the kids. And I'm giving him grace. I don't have anything bad to say about Perez Hilton. Like, he's never done anything to me that I know of. Maybe he has. Maybe there was actually an article or two that someone told me about. It's not relevant to me and what I'm doing here. I just think that there is a broader conversation that needs to happen about what this symbolizes. And yes, there are elements of this that are demonic. And yes, you should pray for everybody, even your enemies, when they are dealing with a spiritual possession. I'm just saying that we are watching, and we have been watching, the collapse of Hollywood. He signifies that moment in a way, and beware of where that's reemerging, because it's the fake faith grift. I think we all see that exact same thing with a Bible bend, which is, to me, even more deeply demonic, to be honest. Okay, I think I answered everything. Oh, damn it writes, to all of her detractors, I must say there is a beautiful soul glowing within Candace Owens. There is a beautiful soul growing, I should say, within. I just love my kids. They're so great. And I just have tons of kids, guys. I just should say that. They just make you laugh. They're so funny. They're especially at this age where they don't know anything, but they think they know everything. And just the things that they say are just watching the way their brains work. Every single day, without fail, there's just a moment where I am just laughing so hard at something that one of my children has said. And it is important to give yourself that perspective too, dealing with little people problems. It just makes me happy every day. I think that's the reason why I'm happy, is because I have kids and they add joy to my life, and I have a full family life. Anyway, if you would like to support the show, you know what to do. Go to CandaceOwens.com, buy some merch, especially now that we've learned about this group chat. I think it's appropriate for you to buy a Stop Anti-Candacism. This is obviously a league that we are fighting. It's never been worse. The anti-Candacism that is going on, the coordination, 92 people. It's the right thing to do to show people that you won't deal with this kind of hate. It's a hate that mutates. It grows in group chats. They put my address there. It's getting dangerous. We need textbooks. We need textbooks to teach children. We need laws passed in Congress. This is a way that you can join and show your support for me, and again, stand strongly against anti-Candacism. It has been especially strong in the last year. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much. I love you guys. We will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, the whole Victor Marks thing is crazy, dude. Evil people, stuff's gonna keep coming out. Keep seeking truth. Keep calling these people out. Peace out.